Welcome back to the channel, guys. So this is going to be, as the title said, did Euron Greyjoy actually really travel to Valyria? So this is going to be a weird video for me. I wrote not a script, I wrote an outline, and I'm just going to kind of riff off the outline as I go. So again, did Euron Greyjoy actually travel to Valyria? Backstory, I guess. Valyria, home of the Dragon Lords, greatest empire in the history of that universe, destroyed in a single cataclysmic day known as the Doom, volcanoes, earthquakes. I did a video where the Faceless Men maybe had something to do with it. Go check that video out, it was pretty solid. And the ruins are now cursed, allegedly. I don't need the ruins to sue me, so allegedly they're cursed. Still smoking centuries later, and no, I wrote sane, but that maybe sane's a bad word. No sailor has gone there and came back and been like, oh yeah, we're good. Nobody's done that. Yet Euron Greyjoy claims to have done just that. He has claimed that he traveled there, lived to tell the tale, and allegedly scooped up some shit, because I don't need Euron Greyjoy to come after me either. So the question is, did he actually go to Valyria and live, or is it just a perfectly and carefully crafted myth to make himself seem like the biggest badass in the Game of Thrones universe? Now we're going to get to the main attraction. Who is Euron Greyjoy? So Euron Greyjoy, this is where it's going to get kind of bad. Sorry, YouTube. Sorry, children. Brother of King Balon Greyjoy, exiled after seducing Victarion's wife. That's not exactly what happened, but let's just call it the YouTube acceptable term. Yeah, he did some very inappropriate things. I believe there was like a graping involved with Victarion's wife, and then Victarion actually beat her to death, allegedly. Definitely don't need him coming after me. So he spent years, going to Essos, raiding, and going beyond normal trade routes. In my opinion, he was trying to go the sea snake route and just be famous for doing sea things. Maybe get a cool sea squid or whatever cool nickname he wanted to have. But he returns with absolute craziness, magical prophecies. His lips were darkened from drinking Shade of the Evening, which is warlock nonsense. His ship, the Silence, was crewed entirely by men whose tongues he cut out. So you can have it two ways. One, so that nobody could tell how he got to the Iron Islands, to Valyria, lived, and back. Or on the other hand, he could have taken their tongues to remove them, going, yeah, we went like down the street, waited a while, went to Essos, got drunk, and came back. Either way, to ensure, you can't ensure silence if you cut out somebody's tongue, because they have these things called hands. They can just write whatever they want, but that's what he did. Basically, he came back again, like I said in the intro, he came back with this aura of, I'm the only dude to have gone to Valyria, grabbed whatever I wanted, and lived to tell about it. So yeah, his aura, he was aura farming at that point. So at the Kingsmoot, he famously, declared that he sailed to the Smoking Sea and did not choke on its madness. If you read anything or watch the show, you know that Euron's wicked crazy. Like, definitely mad. He claims that he personally went to Valyria after the Doom and lived to tell about it, and he's got some trophies. Put my cup down real quick. He's got some trophies that don't exactly prove that he was there, but make a really, really, really compelling argument that he probably was there. So he's got a full suit of Valyrian steel armor. Valyrian steel's not something that's made anymore. There's some people that can maybe reforge what you have, but none's being newly made anytime soon. It's so rare. I know the Lannisters have spent basically forever trying to buy it from whatever small houses they could. Anyone willing to sell, Westeros, Essos, doesn't matter, and they still have nothing until they, kill the guy who had a really big sword, and now apparently they have two swords, but that's how rare it is. And on top of that, he has something called Dragonbinder. It is an enormous black horn, banded with Valyrian steel, etched with glyphs, and obviously by the name Dragonbinder, it's supposed to bind a dragon. And he uses these things and his words to announce that it's his destiny to unleash all of this magic, all of this power, unleash a dragon that he binds to conquer Westeros and basically whatever else he wants. And for those of you who don't know, the Smoking Sea is the sea around Valyria, perpetual ash, toxic fumes, volcanic eruptions. From the lore people that I follow and watched for years, people think that it's basically the volcanoes are still going off under the ocean, creating the toxic gas that is the smoke for the Smoking Sea. The ships, they apparently regularly get sucked into fiery whirlpools and are never seen again. Basically, the Smoking Sea sounds like the Bermuda Triangle of that universe. The Stone Men, who are victims of Grayscale, are said to attack travelers along the waters. Grayscale, you know what Grayscale is. If you have Grayscale and you're anywhere, they're going to say, go to the ruins of Old Valyria. Good luck. I know I forgot if I read it or watched a video about some of the things. It's really like this show where they'll just be like, you aren't a stone man. I'm going to attack you. Blah. They're basically mindless monsters at a point. Legend speaks of demons, twisted monsters, cursed spirits that are left behind in Old Valyria, pirates, slave traders, merchants. But at the same time, if there's pirates, slave traders, and merchants, it kind of defeats the purpose of nobody going there, which is weird. And it is basically and generally considered a death sentence to try to go anywhere near that peninsula and do anything. And now we're going to piggyback a little bit off of what I said earlier about the evidence and talk about some evidence suggesting that this could all be fabricated. So, to support it, the artifacts do indeed look genuine. The armor is fitted to his body, and like I said earlier, new Valyrian steel can't be made anymore, so that's it. The Dragonbinder's magical properties, allegedly somewhere somebody blew it. Their lungs burned, there was agony, it was a whole thing. The post-exile shift in personality. He returns far more mystical, talks of becoming a god, openly talks about conquering the entire world through sorcery, and he was known for like Barristan the Bold type boldness, so it does seem like somebody that bold may actually be like, I'm sailing to Valyria, I'm exiled, I'm going to come back even better. So that does kind of add up, but there is also a little bit of evidence, or what's the saying where the easiest answer is normally the correct one. So Euron is a master manipulator and liar. He could have easily acquired these relics from anywhere. So just a couple of points that I wrote down that I'm going to try to riff off of here for a second. So he could have stolen from the Warlocks because he clearly had dealings with them, so he was there. So he could have just, yoink, 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 stole anything that they had that was worth stealing. Asai and Lys, they are known and they're famous for trading both real and fake magical artifacts, and again, he was trying to sea snake it up and was just everywhere, stealing, trading, whatever, everywhere on the beaten path and off the beaten path. The armor may have come from a random noble house, a noble vault in Essos, a random Westerosi house that nobody heard of, or some shit like that. Like, he could have gotten these things literally anywhere, and the Valyrian claims only emerge just before the Kingsmoot. Obviously, if you're like, on the fence, or if you're in second or third place, if you're like, oh, and by the way, I'm the only person to have sailed to Valyria, lived, and come back with cool shit, that's a good way to jump your rivals. And the story enhances his myth by making others believe that, hey, if he's king, he's already conquered basically hell, so what else can he do? Like, there's nothing in Westeros that is anything hell like, so he should be king. And there are some fan theories. You guys know how I like to track down Reddit and Facebook groups to find random crazy theories. Yeah, the fandom is kind of split on this one. So believers think that he went and found forbidden powers and returned changed, and the skeptics basically hear his tale and go, "Oh, this is just like a psyop. Like he didn't do any of this, but because he said he did, now everyone's scared of this guy." So there's that for him. Some of them see him as the possible end game, drawing parallels to like a Lovecraftian horror story, and Euron would be the end. George R. R. Martin actually describes Euron as the darkest character in the series, and so far it seems kind of true. So, he, let me put a pin in that. So, he's the darkest character in the series when it comes to like actual darkness, not just like messed up stuff. Because if it comes to just darkness as in messed up stuff, I think the Mountain would have a pretty solid chokehold on the darkest character, but Euron is probably like the actual darkest character. And we're just gonna conclude it there, guys. We're gonna be done there. So whether he actually went there, whether he didn't go there, he's pretty terrifying either way. If true, he's achieved the impossible and may wield forgotten magical powers and all that nonsense. If false, he's still powerful enough to make everyone think it's true. So there's that. So do you believe that he went there? Do you believe he didn't go there? Leave it in the comments. As always, thank you guys for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.